Hi everybody, my name is Ryan and I am the Laser Noob with a PSA public service announcement just for you. So the next several videos that I'm going to be doing are going to be all on the Atomstack A5 M50 Pro. So we're going to take this thing and we're going to start off with some basic cuts, and we're going to do all the way up to some really some advanced stuff, well, advanced for me, and we're going to see how this thing stacks up. See what I did there? So if you happen to be watching these videos and you see something that you like, check out the links in the description below. You'll find a link for the Atomstack A5 M50 Pro, a link to their website with some other great stuff from Atomstack. So with that, let's get to the next video. Hey everybody, so in our last video we unboxed the Atomstack A5 M50 Pro and did a whole setup on it. So today what we're going to do is we're going to get you guys your software installed. Now I use more than just one type of laser, so I also have an XTool and the Atomstack. So instead of having different softwares for different lasers, I'm going to try and use lasers that will use one software, which is going to be LightBurn. So my LightBurn on this laptop here, just like my other laptop, I can hook any one of my lasers up to that laptop and run it right off of that installation of LightBurn. So I don't have to have XTool Creative Space, I don't have to have laser GRBL or any of that. I just use LightBurn, and later on if I get a fiber laser or a CO2 laser, same thing, I can run those on LightBurn because a lot of those do use LightBurn as a software. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take this Atomstack A5 M50 Pro that we got it all set up. We're going to turn it on and we're going to get it set up in LightBurn, and I'm going to show you guys how to get your LightBurn to detect your A5 M50 or any of your other Atomstack lasers. So with that, let's move over to the computer and we'll get to work. Okay, so we've got LightBurn installed. It's really easy to set your laser up in LightBurn. You can see I've already got my XTool D1 down here. So the difference between the Atomstack and the XTool that is real easy with this. With the XTool, you have to go to their website, download a file, all that in order to get LightBurn to see your laser. Now with the Atomstack, you really don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Devices. And when I open that up, I'm going to click on Find My Laser. So you see my XTool D1 up here. So I'm just going to click Find My Laser. Now, sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, but all we got to do is click Next. And it scanned and it did not find my laser. Now, I know my laser is hooked up. It's all plugged in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Cancel. And we're going to go down here to next to Find My Laser, and we're going to do Create Manually. So when we do Create Manually, we're going to come down here and we are going to select GRBL. Okay, just GRBL, not -LPC. And we will click Next. We're going to leave that on Serial USB, and we're going to click Next. Now we can rename this and we can put Atomstack or the A5 M50, whatever you want to put there. Okay, that's it. That's just what it's going to say down here when it's connected. Okay, so our X-axis is going to be 410 and our Y is going to be 400. Okay, now once we have that, we just click Next. And with the Atomstack A5, it is going to be from the front left. Okay, if you want your laser to go to that front left position every time you turn it on, eventually when you're trying to center your laser exactly where you want it, you're going to want that to happen. I always have it to set auto home. So I'm going to leave that and I'm going to click next. Now it's all done. So I can go finish, and that laser is there, and I can click OK. Now I should be able to go to my devices and see GRBL. That's the one. And I can edit the name on that later whenever I want. I just click on it and I can go to edit. Okay, so now let's see here. We're going to go GRBL, and boom, there is our laser. Now it has found it and it is set, and we can actually take it, and if we hit the home button, it should go home. Okay, so there you go. Nice and easy. It's set up. We hit the home button. It went home, so we know it's connected and it's working. And let's move on to the next part. Okay, here we go. So LightBurn is open, and we are ready to test do our first test run. Okay, so unlike the XTool D1, the XTool D1 has a kickstand in order to focus your laser. This one does not have a kickstand. So what they do when you unbox them, you'll see in the unboxing video, they actually have several of these little plexiglass or acrylic little keychain looking things. All right. So basically what you want to do with those is we're going to stick those in, and it goes underneath your laser, and then you loosen the thumb screw and set the laser down on top of that. Tighten the thumb screw back up, and that is how you focus your laser. All right. So I'm not a big fan of that, but I mean, it's not that big a deal. We just want to make sure that, you know, we keep these somewhere where we can find them and don't lose them. But they do send you 3. So we'll move that to the side. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop over to LightBurn real quick. So here's what we're going to do. I've got just laser noob here, nothing fancy. And I'm going to highlight that. And that's showing we're at about 123.5 millimeters wide by almost 15 millimeters high. Okay. So, I mean, it's not real big. I'm not trying to spend a bunch of time here. We're just going to burn something and make sure that the laser works and it looks good. And we don't have any issues with it. So I do the bamboo on my 10 watt quite a bit, and I use 80 millimeters a second for my speed at 40% power. So it's a safe bet most of the time. That, I mean, I'm running a 5 watt, not a 10 watt now. So I'm going to just reduce that speed from 80 millimeters a second to 40 millimeters a second. So it's going to take twice as long to burn as it is going to with, let's say, my 10 watt. Okay. So what we want to make sure is we have output on. So output is actually what's going to get what the laser is going to burn. If this is not output, okay, it still shows up on the screen, but you're going to hit start and nothing's going to happen because it's not outputting. So you want to click output. All right. Same thing. It's show. Now, if show is not selected, now it's just disappeared from my screen. So you're like, well, what the heck? All right. So show needs to be on. Well, it doesn't need to be on. It's still going to burn it. But if you want to see it, show needs to be on. If output's not on, the laser won't burn it. Don't worry about the error right here. That's for error assist for different stuff. You won't use that here. So I'm going to hit my space bar, and I'm going to move here, move my screen, click back to show, and we're going to zoom in. All right. So that's what we're going to burn. Now what we want to do is we want to frame that. So we're going to extend that. We want to frame it. You always want to frame. If you've never used a laser, you want to frame. Always remember frame. You want to make sure that it's actually going to burn in the area you want it to burn. All right. So since I manually moved the laser to where I want it, I'm going to select current position, and I want it to start from the center. Okay. Well, that's where the laser is going to start, but it's not going to burn from the center. That's just where the laser is going to start. So center and current position. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit frame. And that's the area that it's going to burn. So frame one more time. Okay. And then all we got to do is go ahead. We're going to double check some stuff here. So I have this on line right now for mode. All right. So if you see how Laser Noob looks right now, if I leave it on line, that's exactly how it's going to turn out. It's just going to do the outer line of the letters and the little inner parts. It's not going to actually fill it in and make it a solid letter. So what I want to do is I'm going to select fill. All right. So we've got, now we're on fill. We got 40% power at 40 millimeters a second. We're running this at one pass. We don't want to do two passes. One pass, and that looks good. So now all we have to do, we've already framed. We know where our current position is, where the laser is. Our job origin is going to start from the center. All we got to do is hit start. So let's click start and get this thing going. Okay, so in the first video with the A5 M50 Pro, we did the unboxing and put it all together. I showed you guys how to do that. The part that took me the longest about that video was actually talking my way through it for you guys, but to actually do it and do the actual initial unboxing and setup of it, put it all together, was actually relatively simple. I mean, there were some parts of the instruction booklet that were a little vague. It gives you tiny pictures. I'm an old dude, and I had to go get my cheaters in order to see the pictures. But other than that, I mean, it really wasn't too bad. So we did that. One of the nice things I do really like about this is, since I am using LightBurn, because it's just better than Creative Space or LaserBox Basic was. So I just used LightBurn. I mean, it's light years ahead of both of those. I've never used Laser GRBL, and I probably won't, because LightBurn works for both of them. But anyway, for the XTool, I had to go in and I had to download a file off XTool onto my computer and do all that junk just to get LightBurn to see the XTool. So when I was putting this laser into LightBurn, the first time it didn't recognize it, it didn't find it. But it was just entered a couple of measurements and a couple of clicks, and boom, it was there. So nothing to download. I mean, it was simple. You guys just saw we did it. So I do like that better about the Atomstack A5 M50 than I do the XTool. One of the other things I really like about this laser compared to the XTool laser is that the frame on the XTool is extremely deep. I mean, it is deep, deep. So it's real hard to see. I mean, you put your safety goggles on, but it's real hard to see over that rail and see where your laser is actually pointing on here. So, I mean, if you're a very basic user and you don't know how to move that laser exactly where you want it, sometimes you're trying to line it up by sight. It makes it very hard with the XTool with that base, you know, so huge where you can't see over it or under. So I like this thinner rail right here because I can easily look over the top or under it, and I can see exactly where that laser's at. So I like that much better too. One of the other things I did is I did a sound test. I took my mic, this mic right here, and I ran a burn on the A5 M50 and saw, you know, what the volume was on my mic on the display, and then I did the exact same burn on my XTool. The XTool is a little bit louder. You know, I mean, not like a huge difference, but it's a little bit louder. So the A5 M50 is quieter than the XTool. So not only is the rail thinner, so you can see the ease of setup is much easier. It's quieter. One of the other things I absolutely am going to love about this laser is the display. So I think it's fantastic that I can take a micro SD card with some files on it. I can stick it right here in the top of the control module, and I can go to my screen and pick that file and burn it without the use of having a laptop. So if I go somewhere, I do not have to take my laptop with me. All I need is that SD card, and as long as my files are named correctly and easy to find, I just find them on here, click it, boom, it burns it. So I think that in itself is outstanding. I really am gonna love that. So with that, so this is the cutting board I was using to do the test. This is some tests that I just ran on the XTool, just some speed power tests. So I'd do a picture and I'd have the speed power underneath it, and I see how it's all gonna turn out. We just did a couple of test runs today with the Atomstack A5 M50. Both of these, yeah, I mean, it just took a couple of minutes. And it was real easy. These are the ones where I actually was running the speed, the test for the sound. So I started one on the Atomstack and then did another one on the XTool. And I just ran those for a couple of minutes just to get an average of the volume. And like I said, the Atomstack was a little bit quieter. So all in all, first impression, I'm really liking the A5 M50, but I have put hundreds of hours on my XTool. Now what I gotta do is I gotta put this thing through the ringer. So stick around, because the next several videos that I'm gonna be doing are all gonna be on the Atomstack A5 M50 Pro, and we're gonna test the hell out of this thing and see if it holds up. So with that, I hope you guys learned something from the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, come back for the next video, and we'll see you guys then.